Ma'am? Ma'am, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, Izyan, we can see your screen. Yes, Izyan.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Respected teachers and my dear students. Today, as part of the Open Exploration Phase 1 held by Hashville School, I will be doing a general presentation on the topic I chose, our world of animals. I will just give you a brief introduction into the animal kingdom, which is surely a vast topic and there are many areas of it. Surely can't be done, and I can't talk about it in just a short period of time. It will take a long period of time, so I will just share with you the knowledge I have, which is just a fraction of the discoveries we have made and the discoveries that are yet to be found. So, are you ready for my presentation? If you are, let's begin. So, before we start, I would like to ask you a question. If you know what is animals, anyone can answer if they know what are animals.
So I don't know what is animal.
What? Could you please repeat the question?
The question is, if anyone knows what are animals, they can answer.
I
What
can
are
say, I can
animals?
say.
Yes, I did.
Animals are living beings that are similar to us, right?
Can
Yeah,
I say?
that's a valid answer.
Can I say?
So, if anyone, yeah, yes, Akash.
An animal is another living being that lives on this planet with us. Animals have different abilities, unlike humans. Animals live in other vast biomes and different areas, not like humans in cities. Animals are almost found everywhere on this planet, to the deepest depths of the ocean, or or right inside our house. So yeah, that's what an
That's
animal is.
also that's also a very valid point. Correct. So now I will answer this question in the upcoming slides. And before that, just like a small challenge, I'll give you a challenge like in these slides, you will have to spot 10 robot dogs in the slides, and at the end of the presentation, I will ask you to show if you have seen all the 6 dogs. Okay, so let's begin. Now, before we answer the question, what are animals? We will be going through our agenda. Now, in this agenda, we will be seeing the different topics we will be going to cover in the presentation. So first we have what are animals and their main type about animals and the different types of animals. Second, I'm going to answer how animals have influenced and helped us in our lives because they have influenced how we think of the world in many different areas. And last but not least, we have animals and their different features and characteristics. And we're going to I'm going to discuss like more features and more discoveries on the animal world. So let's begin. So now let us answer the question, what are animals? And what are animals? Now, according to me, animals are like living organisms made of thousands and millions of different cells that make up to form an organism. These animal organisms can move, they can breathe, they can feel, they can reproduce, in which where they give birth to a new individual, and they can also do locomotion. Now, locomotion might be a term you might not know, so I'll just explain it to you. So, locomotion is where an animal or an organism is able to move from one place to another. So, this is what we call as locomotion. So, animals can do all these things, and this is what I call animals. So, now we have understood mainly what animals are. We are also going to see a few examples of animals, and many of you might have already known. So there are lynxes, there are coelacanths, um, there are elephants, giraffes, lemurs, etc. There are many different animals, that it would like take a lot of time to count all of them, because there are different species and subspecies and classifications, that it would take like a year or more to count all the species. So now we still have the thirst for knowledge. So that is why I'm gonna continue with the slides. So we are gonna see the different classifications and types of animals which comes in the group 1 of our agenda. Okay, so we have types of animals. Now mainly animals are divided into two main groups. They are invertebrates and vertebrates. So like before I explain more on animals, I would like to choose 5 people, and these 5 people, they can answer what is a mammal, what is a reptile, what is a bird and amphibian, and I'll be writing the answers over here. Okay.
Can you choose
So
me?
yeah, just a minute. I'll choose. Okay. Five children. And I'll choose Adam. You can also raise your hand if you want to answer. Adam, Aiden, Akash, and
What was the
and
question?
the question is like I will choose 5 people, and they need to give me the answer. Like they can choose either mammals, reptiles, amphibians, or fish, and they can give the definition. Okay. So Koi, Adam, Akash, and Aiden. I need one more child who can. Okay, not Aiden. I need 2 more children who can answer.
Izyan, your screen is stuck. Yeah. I have
Wait for a minute. Wait for a minute. We may facing some network issues, so he will join back.
Sorry, ma'am. I mistakenly disconnected from the meeting.
Yeah, it's okay. You can continue, Izyan.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Can I tell what mammals are?
Yeah. So Adam can give me the definition of mammals.
Mammals are animals that have hair on their body, and they are the animals that give like birth, like directly. Not they give birth directly, like not in eggs. And then
That's a valid.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Next.
A question. Does each animal here represent one of the type of creatures you said?
Yeah, because the zebra is a type of mammal. The
Yes, but
turtle is a type of reptile. Shark.
then why did you put a turtle and a frog when like frogs are almost amphibians and reptiles and same with turtles?
No,
Pups are
they are in two different types. The reason is because
okay.
the turtles and frogs are in two different categories. One is reptiles. That is, turtles are in the family of reptiles, while frogs are in the family of amphibians. Even though they are both amphibious and
Okay, okay. So basically, we have to tell something about one of the animals. type of animal.
Izyan is stuck again, right?
Yeah, I think he's having network problems.
Yes, he's stuck again.
Yeah. Just wait, okay?
Mammals can eat fish. Sorry. Can anyone answer what are reptiles?
I can
Mammals
say
can eat fish.
What is the
say
question?
The question is
Mammals
like
can eat fish.
first Adam has answered what are mammals. Now could anyone else give the definition of reptiles?
Reptiles are like lizard and snakes and like those.
Lizards are reptiles are cold-blooded animals.
Mommy's stuck again.
They have scales
Yeah, that's correct.
not
and
all
they
reptiles.
breathe air. They breathe air, right? And they
Yeah,
breathe
that's
air.
Any
No,
other
they are warm, cold-blooded animals.
correct. That's very correct. Any other answers? Next,
Aidin, you can speak. You're typing in the chat. You can unmute your mic and say it. Okay, Aidin?
Ma'am, in the between, I got stuck. I got
yes, guys.
disconnected. So I,
Yes, guys.
Yeah, which one should I say?
You can say what are fish.
Fish, okay.
Yeah. So could you give the definition for fish?
Izyan, can I say? Can I say?
Yeah, you can say. You can say. You can give the
Fish,
definition. Yeah,
fishes
fish.
have fishes have special things called gills, and they use water as air to breathe.
Okay. They don't breathe exactly air. They like
Yeah,
they, oxygen is dissolved in the water, so they take the oxygen from the water.
can I say what a fish?
Yeah, you can say what a fish. Then next, actually, you can answer what are birds.
I'll answer what are amphibian.
Yeah, you can answer. So Akash, you can answer like what are fish? No, what are birds?
Can I tell you what's birds?
Okay, a bird is an animal that has wings primarily and can fly. Not all birds can fly. There are a couple species of birds that cannot fly. Birds are mostly defined as the only animals which can fly. And I would agree as long as we don't include flying fish. Birds,
That's actually false.
birds are birds. Birds are one of
Bats
the
can fly.
birds are one of the animals that lay eggs, and they don't straight away give birth to an animal, but they lay eggs, unlike mammals.
That is true.
Can I tell a fact about birds?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Adam. You can.
Yeah, birds have hollow bones that make them like lighter, so they can fly in the air, and
Yeah,
they have
so
also
they have hollow
feathers like
Can I
leather.
say what are birds?
Correct. All your answers are correct. So
Can I
now,
say what are birds? Can I say?
You can. Okay. Okay. Final point.
Birds are warm-blooded animals, and some types of birds migrate when it's hot or cold to other places. They
Correct.
have wings and they can fly. Not all of them, but some cannot fly, like chickens and ostriches. Yeah.
Yeah. Correct. Chickens can fly for short, like hens and roosters can fly for short distances, but not like proper fly. Yeah. Okay. So all your answers are valid. Now, last we have amphibians. So anyone can answer what are amphibians? Adit?
Me? Yeah.
Can I? Is the amphibians
After
can
Adit?
live both on water.
Can I answer?
Yeah, you can answer then.
Well, amphibians are like they're vertebrates, and they usually live in the like forest, and they consist of mostly frogs, toads, and like salamanders. Like they're very like small animals, but they're also like really cold blooded.
Correct. Now Isaac can answer.
Amphibians can live both on water and land.
Yeah, so that's a term we have learned. Amphibious animals are the ones that can live both on land and water. So, as Adit told that frogs are vertebrates.
You're muted. Izyan, you're muted.
Okay, so yeah, so as Adit told, we are gonna discuss about vertebrates and invertebrates. Like he told that frogs are vertebrates. These are the main two classifications of animals. So in this, we are gonna discuss this diagram thoroughly. So first we have invertebrates. We are gonna discuss vertebrates. So vertebrates are like the animals that have a backbone and they have a skeleton that helps them have a proper shape. This proper shape, and they have enough support. They have a backbone called also called as the vertebral column. Next, we have invertebrates. Invertebrates are like the animals that do not have a backbone, unlike vertebrates, and they don't have a skeleton to help support them. Instead, they have an exoskeleton, which is like an outer protection for the animals. So, we will go into these two classifications deeply. So, first, we will view into what are vertebrates. So, vertebrates, I'll give you an example before we start. Examples of vertebrates like us humans, we have a backbone. That's why we are classified into vertebrates. And there is elephants, dogs, lynxes, pumas. All these animals are vertebrates. Now, we will start discussing about mammals. Okay. So, mammals are warm-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals that give birth to live young ones. So that means that they don't lay eggs unlike reptiles and birds. They give birth to live young ones. And mammals are mainly, there are like 6,945 different discovered species of mammals till now. And mammals mostly have fur and hair as body covering, but still there are other animals that have protective body coverings like scales, like the armadillos, and they have quills for protection like the porcupine. So now we're going to discuss the main three classifications of mammals. So mammals are divided into three main groups. We have placentals, monotremes, and marsupials. So these animals are like they are classified because of how they reproduce. For example, the marsupial reproduce in their pouches. So we will go through these classifications one by one. First, we'll start with placentals. So placentals are the mammals which give birth to live young ones like us humans, you must have seen. And next comes monotremes. Even though monotremes are mammals, monotremes give birth to young ones in eggs. Like they give birth to young ones in soft shelled eggs. For example, echidnas and platypuses, they are all monotremes. Last, we have the marsupials. So all marsupials have female marsupials have a pouch in the front, and in the pouch, the young individual grows. Like for example, in a kangaroo, in the pouch from the size of a jelly bean, it grows into a fully grown joey inside the pouch. So inside the pouch, and this is how each of these animals reproduce and how they are classified. And mammals are truly a very like diverse group of animals. And before we conclude on mammals, I want to give you another piece of information that there is also another type of mammal called marine mammals. Marine mammals, they live in water. You must be thinking like, how do these mammals live in water, because like they need to hold their breath. So for this, mammals have special adaptations and features that help them cope with the water. They mostly live in seawater. So examples of marine mammals include orcas, belugas, whales, etc. Most types of like marine mammals come from the family called cetaceans, which are a group of dolphins and whales. Okay, so now let me explain to you about the adaptations that marine mammals have to help them cope with the marine waters. So, like for example, seals or orcas, they have modified arms which are called flippers. Unlike fish, they have flippers, not fins, to help them swim. And they also have a blowhole. Most of them have a blowhole, so they can hold their breath for a long period of time. And like when they go out of breath, they surface to the surface of the water, and they breathe oxygen through the blowhole on on them. So now we have concluded on what are mammals. So now I'm gonna explain about reptiles. So reptiles are cold-blooded creatures that lay eggs, and they have mostly have scales for protection. There are different types of reptiles like the gharials, crocodiles, caimans, alligators. So these reptiles are amphibious, meaning that live they can stay in both water and land. And many of the reptiles usually bask in the sun. Bask in the sun means like they stay in the sun for a lot of time because they are cold blooded and to keep themselves warm. And there are also other types of reptiles like there are like I told, there are crocodiles, alligators, caimans, and gharials, which is like one group of reptiles. Then we have the turtles and tortoises. Then we have the quick-legged tuatras and lizards like geckos. And we also have the limbless snakes which don't have limbs. They use their ventral muscles and scales to help them move. So and reptiles are a very
Izyan,
groups of the animals are like very diverse. There are lot,
Izyan,
and like unlike most creatures in the reptile family, like
hello, Izyan.
who lay yes.
Yeah. So mammals and birds are warm blood. So I I didn't understand like uh, what are warm blood and cold blood.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain about warm-blooded and cold-blooded in the like next slide. Okay, so I'll explain about it later. Okay, so yeah, unlike most reptiles, vipers, which are snakes, they don't lay eggs. Like they don't lay eggs. That means that they give birth to live young ones. Like they give birth to young ones like we mammals do. Like, many reptiles like vipers do this. And like dinosaurs, like which are a fascinating group of creatures, we all must have heard of it. These dinosaurs evolved from these small reptiles, which is very cool because from these small reptiles, these huge giants like evolved. So now we have finished about now. Before that, I want to give you a short fact. So I'm going to ask you, who will win a staring contest? will a human win it or a gecko? So can anybody answer? In a staring contest, who will
I
win?
think a gecko.
Again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Habeeb.
gecko would win.
Yeah, gecko.
A gecko will win a staring contest between a human and a gecko, which is very likely human and gecko because unlike us humans, we have eyelids for protection of our eyes. So it's not always protected. Like whenever some danger comes, we close our eyes. But for lizards like geckos, what they have is like under the above the eyes, they have a protective layer, a protective covering. So they don't have to blink. Like whatever comes into their eyes, like it is like the layer protects it. So that is
Yeah,
why
they have like a transparent. It's like
yeah, transparent
transparent.
protective. Yeah, they have a transparent protective layer. Correct. So now we're gonna discuss about amphibians. So, like most of the animals in this group, in the invertebrates, amphibians are cold-blooded, and amphibians are like they can live both on land and water, like we discussed. And amphibians lay eggs to reproduce. And different examples of amphibians are there, like Adik told, there is toads, there is newts, salamanders, frogs, and etc. Um, Amphibians always have to be like very close to water because because these amphibians they need to have moist skin because for breathing they breathe through the lungs but they also breathe through the skin, like the skin also absorbs the oxygen. So because of this, their skin has to be moist to be able to breathe the oxygen in the surroundings. So next we're gonna talk about fish. Now fish are like truly a group of diverse creatures with many different species, and fishes are mostly covered with scales that protect them from different outside agents. And fish also like they lay eggs to reproduce, and the eggs are just like the frog eggs, which are like transparent, and inside there is the young one. And yeah, these are some facts about fish I have got. And before that, I want to give you a piece of information that um, that the animals that lay um, the animals that lay eggs, they are called oviparous animals. Like we have discussed, there are fish, there are amphibians, there are reptiles, there are birds, and monotremes. All these animals they lay eggs, and also in invertebrates, most of them lay eggs. So the creatures that lay eggs are called animals that lay eggs are called oviparous. Now I'll give you a tip to remember oviparous animals because in the word oviparous, you see the starting letter is O. So take O as an egg. Now oviparous animals lay eggs, so you can remember in that connection. And the animals that don't lay eggs are viviparous animals. The spellings are Oviparous, and viviparous spelling is Viviparous. So now we're gonna discuss about birds. Yeah, birds. So birds are like truly nature's wonder because they have different features that help them fly, and we should truly appreciate them. That's why I'm going to talk about birds. So birds are warm-blooded creatures that and mostly have feathers for protection. And now let's some birds mostly fly. So birds have many features that help them fly, many adaptations, many features that help them fly. For example, they have strong wing muscles that help them fly. They have hollow bones, like Adam told, that make them light enough to fly. and after that they have hollow bones and a streamlined body. Now a streamlined body, they have like an aerodynamic body where like they're they're able to maneuver, they are able to go like fly through the air very easily. Um, they're in the streamlined body position. They are bulging at the center and narrow at the edges. So this helps them fly. And there is another thing like some birds cannot fly. Like we might think that most birds can fly, but then some birds cannot fly, and some birds can fly for short distances, like hens and all. So that's very weird because like only some birds can fly. For example, birds that cannot fly are kakapos, rheas, cassowaries, ostriches, etc. There are many birds that like don't fly. Now I'll be talking to you about the different functions of the feathers. Like feathers play a crucial role in how in the birds. So I'm gonna discuss about the different types of feathers in the birds, and their different functions. So we have downy feathers. So these downy feathers like keep the bird warm in different conditions, and then some feathers also like help them fly. They are there near the tail and the wings to help them steer and fly. And wings are also there to help for plumage of the bird. Plumage means like the color, like to attract other birds. So these birds have colorful plumage. So now, like I think we have completed um, the whole of the vertebrates. Now, before that, I want to give you a fact that there are fishes called filter feeders that like whale sharks. So these whale sharks, what they do is they gulp in huge amounts of water, and then they swallow the plankton and the creatures that they want to eat, and the excess water flows out of their lungs, like the process of breathing in fishes. So and also I want to ask if anyone knows how the process of breathing works in fishes. Anyone can answer?
Can I say?
Uh, yes, Adit.
Yeah. So basically, fishes live in water and they cannot breathe on the land. And so how they live in the water is they have gills, and these gills take in the water, and water actually has a type of oxygen, and that's the oxygen they breathe through their gills.
So, like, the process is like where they got. Does anyone want to answer? Yes, Adam.
What is the question? I was not there for some time.
Yeah, the question is like, can you explain the process of how fishes breathe oxygen in water?
So in the water there is some oxygen. So through the gill, the fish has gills, right? So it goes through the gills and they absorb the oxygen only, and yeah, the other water comes out.
Yeah, so the fish like they gulp in huge amounts of water through the mouth, and in the mouth like the excess water flows out of their gills, and while the oxygen that is dissolved in the water is absorbed by the gills, which has a thin lining, and from the gills the oxygen goes throughout their whole body, helping in respiration. Okay. So now we have completed about vertebrates. Now we're gonna discuss about invertebrates. Okay. So invertebrates are the animals, like we told, are the animals that don't have a backbone and have an exoskeleton for their support. So now let's dive deep into the unknown world of these creatures. So let's start with insects. Insects are actually part of a larger family called arthropods. We can see over here. So arthropods are actually divided into three groups. which are insects, arachnids, and crustaceans. So I'll be explaining about it more. So now we're gonna discuss about insects. Now, insects truly play a vital role in the environment. For example, like bees make honey. Like without the bees, many medicines would not be there. Like honey is a very important part of our life, and without bees, there would be no honey. And also, spiders help in pest control because they eat like they prey on the different insects like cockroaches and all, which we might find annoying in our houses. So now we're gonna discuss. Now we're gonna see the different parts, like how the structure of an insect. So insect mainly has 6 legs, two pairs of like 3 pairs of 2 legs, and 2 pairs of wings. So insects are mainly divided into 3 parts. There's the head, there's the abdomen, and there's the thorax. So these are the parts of the insects. Now you must be wondering, like, how do these insects breathe in such a tiny and complex body structure? Now that's what I'm gonna answer now. So these insects have tiny openings called spiracles in which they take in the oxygen, and this oxygen goes to the trachea and to the lungs. So this is how insects breathe. I hope you all understood. If any doubt, you can ask me. So, like, there are still many types of insects that are yet to be found, and I'm just giving you a few examples like ladybirds, honeybees, butterflies, caterpillars, etc. There are lots. There are like 1.24 million types of invertebrates. That is a lot more than vertebrates. So now we're gonna go into the second category in the group of arthropods called arachnids. Now you might be thinking like, I don't know if all of you think like that, but then many of you might be thinking like that spiders might be insects, but no. Spiders are like a totally different group of animals, different group of creatures that are called arachnids. So these arachnids, they have like um, they have like 8 legs. All arachnids have 8 legs, and they have 4 eyes. So these arachnids, I can give you different examples. Like there are spiders, scorpions, pseudoscorpions, and ticks. All these are examples of arachnids, and they have a similar structure and like similar functions to an insect. So there is not much to explain. Now, last category in arthropods are crustaceans. Crustaceans are examples I can say are like crabs. So now we have finished discussing about arthropods. Now we're gonna see another group of invertebrates called echinoderms. So we can see echinoderms on the top row. So echinoderms are a group of invertebrates, and can anyone guess what they mean? Like they have a meaning in Greek. So does anyone know what echinoderms means in Greek? Okay, so I'll tell. So echinoderms in Greek means hedgehog skin. So hedgehog skin, because like many of the echinoderms have different like spikes, like those kind like a hedgehog. They have different spikes for protection and many other purposes. They have spikes like sea urchins, brittle stars, sand dollars, etc. So echinoderms are like marine animals. Like they live in marine habitats, and they reproduce through eggs by releasing the egg and the sperm in the water, and which forms new individuals. And one interesting fact about echinoderms are that they can regrow parts of their bodies. For example, you must have heard that starfishes or sea stars can like grow new limbs once, even if you have cut them. So now I'm going to explain to you about the 5 main classifications of echinoderms. So in this family we have sand dollars, sea stars, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, brittle stars, and sphenoids. And sphenoids are also known as sea lilies. So these are the five main classifications of echinoderms. Now, echinoderms breathe through their gills, or they have tiny pockets, kind of like the spiracles in insects, to help them breathe. And echinoderms are like a very diverse classification of different creatures, and they are a very important part of the food chain because they are prey for many animals and they keep control of many. So now, next I'm gonna explain to you about annelids. Now, annelids are like a group of creatures that have segmented bodies. I'll give an example. For a starter, like leeches or earthworms. Earthworms and leeches are both from the family called annelids, and I'll give you the features of these annelids and how to identify them. So, all invertebrates characterized by a body cavity called the coelom between the digestive system and a stiff hair-like structure called the setae on their body, and segmented bodies are called as annelids. So this means that annelids have like a hair-like structure called setae, and they also have a body cavity. They have like a hole, kind of like that, in their body called the coelom, and after the coelom, and they also have like their body is a set grouped into different segments. And one interesting fact about earthworms is that earthworms don't have like a separate sex, like they're not male or female. So so now we have understood like the features of annelids, and we're going to see how like um they reproduce. Like, so many of the invertebrates, I'm telling, not only for annelids, many of the invertebrates, they reproduce in a way, in like in a process where different cells merge together called meiosis, and that is how annelids reproduce and many other invertebrates reproduce. Now we have finished arthropods, echinoderms, and annelids. Now we're going to go into the flatworms. You might think that flatworms are same like annelids because like annelids there are earthworms and flatworms it's like another group, but no, because flatworms are like invertebrates with soft bodies and they are mostly flattened, and often lot of 80% of these flatworms are parasites. So anyone can anyone answer what are parasites? Yes,
Me.
Akash.
Akash, are you here? Akash.
I know what parasites are. I know what parasites are.
Yes, Akash.
Yes.
Yes, Akash, you can answer. What are um,
What? Could you repeat the question? I know. I know what parasites are.
yeah,
Could you
you can
repeat
answer.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. The question is like what are parasites?
Parasites.
Parasites.
Have I already researched about them? I'm not too sure. Ryan could answer.
Okay, so I'll tell you what are parasites. Parasites are the creatures that like depend upon another host creature. They take all the nutrition and the basic needs of the host creature. So like lot of the flatworms are parasites. I can give you an example of tapeworms. Tapeworms are parasites and they can cause awful lot of diseases for us. That is it. So tapeworm is an example of a flatworm. So one exciting feature about flatworms are that like when they want to reproduce, they cut themselves into different parts, like they tear themselves into different parts, and each part grows into a new individual. And just like other invertebrates, flatworms reproduce both sexually and asexually. Okay, So does anyone know this process? I'm gonna tell the process where like these flatworms tear themselves into different individuals in different parts, and each part grows into a new individual. So does anyone know like what this process is called? Okay, so I'll tell. This process is called fission. Fission is the name of this process. Fission. So now we have concluded on the category of flatworms. Now we're gonna go and see on the family of cnidarians. So cnidarians you can see in the top row. So cnidarians are creatures that live both in freshwater and saltwater habitats. An exciting feature about these creatures is that they use a special kind of cell called cnidocytes. So this cell called cnidocyte, they use it for hunting. So for gathering food, and most cnidarians have tentacles like sea anemones and jellyfish. They have these tentacle kind of organs that help them forage for food. And cnidarians are like mostly like carnivorous and feed on like plankton and those kind of and plankton, shrimps, krill, and the other kind of planktonic um, fish. So we must know the features of cnidarians. That's what I'm going to tell now. So, like I told, jellyfish and sea anemones are cnidarians, and they have tentacles that helps them forage for food. And cnidarians like don't have a respiratory system. Like they don't have lungs, or like you must have seen a picture of a jellyfish. So they don't have lungs, or they don't have a nose. Like they don't have anything to breathe. So that's what they to help breathe. They take in the oxygen from the surrounding water. Like they don't have any special organs for that. So now next in line we have the mangy mollusks. Now we're gonna discuss about mollusks. So mollusks are like soft body creatures. Soft body creatures that use shells and many other mostly shells for protection. Different mollusks include snails, and there are um, mainly three types of mollusks I'm going to tell you about. There is gastropods. Gastropods are a group of invertebrates mollusks that include snails, and another category of mollusks are bivalves, which are a group of like animals that are mostly in shells like clams, scallops, etc. Last, we have cephalopods. You must have seen like octopuses or nautiluses. All these animals are group of the mollusks, and they come under cephalopods. And mollusks have gills like fish and to breathe, and they reproduce through eggs. So last but not least, we have protozoans, which we have not discussed. So protozoans are actually tiny microorganisms or tiny microbes. So these creatures cannot be seen by naked eye. Like the even the creature, like even the bacteria, like the bacteria that causes pneumonia, typhoid, cholera, all these types of diseases that are caused by protozoans. So these protozoans are creatures that are single celled. They only have one cell. They are made up of one cell, while we are made up of thousands and millions of cells. And protozoans can be harmful, like the germs we see, germs like bacteria, or they can be helpful in many fields like cooking. So many of the protozoans are parasites, and they use other creatures like hosts, like I've told. And protozoans breathe oxygen like how cnidarians do by absorbing the oxygen. So finally, we have finished talking about animal classification. I think about. So now we're gonna go on to the next piece of information. So like Kois asked, what Kois asked, there is a term we used normally in vertebrates: cold-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals. So that is what I'm gonna explain to you. So we have the sloth over here. Now the sloth, as you know, is a mammal, and mammals are warm-blooded animals. We're gonna discuss what are warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals are like the animals that are able to regulate their body temperature, unlike the outside temperature. In short words, I can tell that, and these warm-blooded animals are able to change their own temperature. Regulate means like change, like keep their own temperature in a steady position. And like that, I'll give an example. Like we are lying in bed and we are in a blanket, or maybe we are wearing a jacket while it's very cold. We are somewhere like in Alaska or somewhere where it's cold, but because we are able to regulate our own temperature, uh, because we are warm-blooded animals, we might feel warm in the jacket even when it's freezing cold outside. So endotherms are the warm-blooded animals. Just another term for, like, another word for warm-blooded animals. So now we have this frog. Frogs, as we have discussed, are amphibians, and amphibians um, are cold-blooded animals. Now, cold-blooded animals is what I'm gonna discuss to you about. So, cold-blooded animals, unlike warm-blooded animals, they are not able to regulate their own temperature. For example, I gave an example when I was talking about reptiles. I said that reptiles mainly bask in the sun, like they stay in the sun for a long period of time so that they are warm. Because in the surroundings near the sun, like when they are basking, it is very warm. That helps them keep their body temperature warm. Unlike us, these creatures, these cold-blooded animals, are not able to change their temperature. Their temperature is according to the outside, for example, outside climate and temperature. So that is why they bask in the sun. Otherwise, if it's very cold, like they might even freeze to death. So yeah, I hope you have understood these two terms. We have these two terms, endotherms and ectotherms. Ectotherms are cold-blooded animals. So I hope I've answered Kois's question. Yes, Kois? Okay. So
Just a
next,
second, Izyan. Adam, why you raised your hand, Adam? Adam.
Ma'am, it is already raised.
ma'am, can I continue?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
Izyan.
yes, Izyan, you can continue.
So now we have learned these two new terms. Now I'm going to share with you a video about, we have learned about different features of the animals, different features, and how they have different characteristics that help them adapt to the environment. So I'm gonna share with you in this video some animals that have different, like what we consider as superpowers, like they have extraordinary features that help them adapt. Just a minute.
Catch him, super duper man! Catch him! Hey! Ay-ya! Oops, sorry. Hey, friends. I know we all aspire to be like our favorite superheroes. But unfortunately, we also know that they only exist in movies and are a work of fiction. But let's not get disappointed, friends, because there are unbelievable animals in the world that are as awesome as our on-screen heroes. So today, let me take you into the magical world of animals with real word about the Wolverine with retractable claws and the ability to heal himself. But do you know that there is a frog who can perform a similar stunt and no wonder is nicknamed as the Wolverine frog? Yes, the Wolverine frog or the hairy frog are found in Central Africa. It is famous for its unusual ability to break its own bones to produce claws that pierce their way out of the frog's toe pads. This spine-chilling behavior is assumed to be a defense mechanism, and the frog's flesh has been found to heal itself after being punctured. But as far as healing is concerned, our next animal, that is, the salamander, is the undisputed champion of it and is capable of truly outstanding feats. This amphibian is known for its ability to regrow not just its tail, but also entire limbs, as well as other damaged parts of major organs. Some salamander species use a method called tail autotomy to escape from predators. When an animal attacks the salamander, their tail drops off and wriggles around for a while, and the salamander either runs away or stays still enough not to be noticed while the predator is distracted. The tail regrows with time within a few weeks. Next in the list is a creature with not one, but two superpowers. Imagine you have been locked inside your house and you try to turn into a liquid to slip through the door. Well, no matter how unreal it might sound, the sea cucumber can transform its body from solid to liquid, allowing it to slip into cracks in rocks that dot the seabed. Not only that, the sea cucumber has the ability to fight with guts, literally, meaning it can eject its internal organs and regenerate them later. Goodness me, that's truly incredible. Next in the list is a tiny microbe with an ability to control the mind. Yes, you heard it right. The Toxoplasma gondii is a small single-celled parasitic, unpopular for its terrifying ability to control its host's mind. It only reproduces in cats' intestines. So the parasite infects mice and makes them more adventurous and less afraid of cats. In fact, affected mice even seem to become attracted to cats. This bad effect raises the rodent's likelihood of being eaten and giving a chance to the parasite to get into a cat's intestine to reproduce. Gosh, that's the scariest thing I have ever heard. Trivia time! Did you know when an adult scarlet jellyfish, also known as the eternal jellyfish, is harmed, it travels to the bottom of the ocean floor, where it morphs back into its infant state, known as a polyp. Then the polyp becomes a new jellyfish, allowing it to move between an adult and infant state in about 2 months. One jellyfish has been witnessed to perform the cycle 12 times. It's question time! So, friends, today's question.
So I hope you guys liked the video. So we have learned about some creatures with extraordinary features like the wolverine frog, salamander, and a type of parasite. So now we're going to continue the presentation. Okay, so we're going to continue the presentation. Okay. So next we're going to go into the second point of our agenda, how animals influence and help in our lives. So animals have like a very great influence in our human world, making many inventions and discoveries come to us. So the animals and animals and creatures have are there in vast numbers, and truly they have very big influence on us. And many of the inventions and discoveries that have been discovered by us help us understand the world more because of the animals and the plants that help us. And Animals not only help give inspiration for us, they also give us services and goods. Like for example, cows, they give us goods like dairy products like milk, cheese, etc. And while horses and camels also give us transportation. So animals are truly very helpful. And we're gonna, in the next slide, we're gonna see some inventions and discoveries that was led because of animals. So number one, we have Velcro. You must have seen the straps in your shoes. They might, like some of the straps in the shoes, they might have Velcro, and in the cap, some of them might have Velcro. So this Velcro was inspired by a plant called cockleburs and dogs. So let me explain to you how this came to be. So there was a man with like a dog, pet dog, and this dog like walked through a bush. This bush was full of cocklebur seeds. So this cocklebur seeds stuck onto the dog. Now this man was very fascinated by what had happened. So he decided to investigate more. So when he took a microscope and then saw the seeds, he saw that they were tiny hooks. Now these hooks were able to catch onto the dog's fur that helped them travel long distances. So, inspired by this, this man made Velcro. And second, we have sea lamprey robots. So, sea lamprey robots were inspired by sea lampreys, which are a type of fish. And these sea lampreys can, they are robots. They can help in the medical field. They can analyze internal body organs and all. Last, we have high-speed trains. So, high-speed trains have been inspired by kingfishers. Let me share with you the story about it. So, there was like a um, bird watching architect of the high-speed trains in Japan. So, when he saw the kingfisher, he was inspired by the shape of the beak. Shape of the beak was very aerodynamic because the problem that they had was that when the high speed trains came to an end, when it stopped, there were like huge pressure sound waves everywhere. So this was like a very disturbing problem. So this man used the beak of the kingfisher as a model for the nose of the train to um, help reduce the sound. So these are just some of the invention discoveries that helped us, helped us. But there are many more, and they have played a vital role in our life. Okay, so now we're gonna see how can animals help us. So we're gonna see how we have affected animals, how animals have affected us. Animals, like we're gonna talk about animals now. So animals have their own, like they're the ones that were first there on this earth. They're the ones that evolved into these creatures. So they have the right to walk on this planet without being disturbed by us humans. But we humans don't understand that. We are like very greedy, and then take whatever chance we have. We take these animals, then we might abandon them, we might um, torture them, all these things, even if animals are like very helpful for us. So to stop this, many good people have started rescuing and protecting animals in sanctuaries, and they have made programs where they do different things, like they clean up, they do volunteer and help um, animals. So this is how we play a role in helping animals. While animals do a lot for us because they provide us with many goods and services, many needs. Like I told, horses and camels and all different animals have help for transportation and for different food products, for wool, for for cotton. All these things have been got from animals. So since the time we have domesticated animals, these animals have been giving us all these services and goods. And not only that, like many animals have helped us in, like they have helped people with special needs, like those who are blind. And some animals are like also there are programs where they are rewarded for their bravery. Like an example I can give you is where there was a dog, his trainer, and the dog actually risked his life for like finding a terrorist for the safety of us humanity. And
Izyan,
another real life story of how dogs show their loyalty to us is like dogs are called man's best friend. And in the story, it shows like where a dog, it's a real life story. So where the dog's owner like passed away at a train station, like at a certain point of time. And even after this, like the dog didn't know this, so that even after this, for 9 continuous years, every day it would come it would come to the train station and wait for the master. So this shows like the loyalty that animals can show us. So I'll give you a suggestion like how we can help animals. There are many different ways we can help animals, like can be indirect or direct. For example, switching off the lights or electronic gadgets, anything that uses electricity like that. Anything that uses electricity, when it is not needed, we can switch it off. This can make a huge impact because this can reduce the global warming, the climate change, which also plays a vital role in um, like reducing the number of animals in the wild. And also we can raise awareness and tell others about what is happening. So now we're gonna go into a term like into an interesting topic that we must know about, and it is called scientific names. So we might tell, oh look, there's a tiger, this is a mountain gorilla, that sea otter is eating urchins. We might name them by their like names, but that's not what scientists do. That's not what scientists do. Scientists, what they do is like, for example, we can see here tiger. They classify this into different groups. Like there is even a job, there's even a profession because like to classify these animals into groups, which is called taxonomy. So animals. Um, yes, Adit.
yeah, I had a question. Like,
Yes.
before you said that animals can help us, is it true that dogs can like because their nose is so good, they can actually like understand like if you have like cancer or something?
Yeah, like some dogs, people use them as dogs are like very loyal to us. So, they can actually understand feelings. So, understand feelings, and they've been used as like in hospitals and all to help the elderly, like the elderly patients and all. They use dogs as a comfort, and it's not like only because of the like the strong sense of smell and the nose that they're able to sense our emotion and like our feelings, but then like it's not only because of that. It's like how we act and all. They they call those. Okay. So now, for example, I was telling about scientific names. So we have this tiger. Yeah, and the family is Felidae, and the scientific name, which scientists mostly use to call different species of animals, is Panthera tigris. So most of these scientific names come from Latin, which is an ancient language, like a language that people in the medieval times or ancient times used. So I give you a few examples of an animal's name, their family, and scientific names. So tiger we have now mountain gorilla. Mountain gorilla is in the family of great apes, and its scientific name is Gorilla beringe. And howler monkey family is Acylidae, and scientific name is Alouatta taraya. And sea otters. Sea otters are from the family of mustelids, and their scientific name is Enhydra luteus. Last, we have flying fox, which family in the family which is Pterodidae, and its scientific name is Pteropus giganteus. So these are just a few animal scientific names, and there are many more. Now, these scientific names are actually like based on Latin and Greek. Latin, like I told, they can also be based on Greek. Like ancient languages like Greek and Latin can also be used. So I'll give and these scientific names like give a meaning. Like they tell a meaning of the. For example, I'll give an example. So there's an animal called the Tasmanian devil. So the Tasmanian devil. The scientific name for the Tasmanian devil is Sarcophilus harrisi. So in Greek, Sarcophilus harrisi means meat lover because uh, Tasmanian devils eat a lot of meat and because they're carnivorous. So scientific names in the original language they can tell a feature like they are like a feature they can in the when we translate to English they can tell a feature about the animal. So we have completed about scientific names. Now, as I was telling, there is a job called taxonomy, and like I was telling that animals have a huge influence on our lives. That they even have created jobs just for them. Like for example, we have just a minute. We have zoology over here. We have zoology, which is the study of animals. It is the job where people like scientists study about animals and their characteristics, their features, their adaptations. And the person who studies about zoology is called a zoologist. And we have taxonomy. Taxonomy, like I told, is where we classify animals. See, in this diagram, there are the animals are classified by their domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus, species. So by all these means, they classify animals. For example, in this slide, I was telling the family Felidae. So they are classified like this. So taxonomy is this study where like we classify animals. Now, like many famous people have been like related, have jobs related to these animals. For example, you must have heard Charles Darwin, Carl Linnaeus. They have made like astounding discoveries in these fields, and we surely must honor them. Now, we have seen how we are a trouble, like how we disturb animals who have the total right to walk on this earth. Like we have seen that. Now we're gonna see like how our actions have like made these animals in trouble. For example, here, animals are in trouble. So animals are in great trouble because of our human actions. Centuries ago, decades ago, animals. And yes,
Yeah. You told 100 minus 70 and you wrote 31.
I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna explain that diagram later. So like we have like animals and us like we were coexisting in centuries ago, but now we are very greedy. We have taken over a lot of things, and like the thing is that our result of our human actions, many animals have become extinct. Like that is actually a very bad thing because this diagram shows like from like 50 years back 50 years back you can tell like in the late 1900s like 1980s or 1990s there was like out of the 100% of animals that were there at that time in 50 years. I mean this is like a very big difference because in 50 years like minus 70 to 69 percent of the animal population has gone extinct, has gone endangered. I'm going to explain about these two terms in the next slide. So it shows like, and now we have only like 31% of the creatures that used to live in the 1980s and 1990s. For example, the tigers, there are many subspecies, but many of them have gone extinct from that time onwards. It shows like how we are very greedy, how we do poaching, we do habitat destruction, we don't care about animals. Like not all of us, but then some of us don't care about animals, and we do actions that can cause a lot of destruction. So, as a result of our action, we have caused global warming, climate change. Now, it is like a mistake we have done, and we have to correct that. So, now I'm gonna help you. I'm going to talk about these two terms that I have just used just now, which are endangered and extinct. So endangered and extinct are the two categories of animals. Like extinct animals are the animals that have gone extinct. Like I'll give you this dodo for example. You can see this dodo, right? So this dodo, like they used to live peacefully in the Mauritius Islands, but then one day sailors came. They started killing all these birds for fun or for eating. That all of them literally they wiped out of the face of the earth. Like just because of the hunting, these this bird became extinct. Like there was no more individuals of this bird. And like I told, like animals are all interconnected in some or the other way. And because of that, like I'll tell you, in Mauritius Islands there was a kind of tree, and it depended on the dodo. When the dodo became extinct, that tree also became extinct because there were no dodos to depend on. So this is and many creatures have gone extinct in the century, and this is like the sixth or eighth mass extinction that has happened in the history of Earth. So now we will see about endangered animals. So endangered animals are like the animals that like they are not gone extinct. There are some individuals left, but they are at the brink of extinction. Like they could die, like they could be wiped out at any moment because like I'll give an example. For example, in 2007 there were like only 10 white rhinos, and because of poaching and like they after like poaching, like by 2010 the whole species were wiped out. So that was what, at that 2007 these creatures were endangered, meaning that they were still there but not that they were still there, but it doesn't mean that there weren't any more individuals of that kind on earth. um on earth. So these are the two terms we have learned now: extinct and endangered. And animals are also classified by different, like how they are. For example, um, some animals are like vulnerable. Some animals are extinct. Then some animals are endangered. Some animals are vulnerable. So it depends on how many of the individuals are still left. Now, I'm gonna discuss about different myths and legends, and how like they've affected, like how we talk about um, different myths and legends we have made on animals. For example, first we have imaginary creatures. So many of us, like not like in folk tales and all, we have thought like made of different imaginary creatures like werewolves, unicorns, dragons. All these are like imaginary, and they like they share stories of these generation by generation. And so this is one. These are myths and legends created by animals. Second is animal truth. People create lies about animals. Like for example, people tell that the horns of a rhinoceros are medicinal. Like they can help a lot in medicine, but it's not scientifically proven. And they use this horn in many medicines, which make these rhinoceros very like they make them endangered. And also another thing is that there is another myth, like people say that wolves howl at the moon, but this is not actually true, because like they what we see is not what we always have to believe. Because like we might see that the wolves howl at the moon, but actually in the night they're like communicating with other people. They're like howling to the other. The howling is the way they communicate to other wolves. And last, we have animal exaggeration. Animal exaggeration is where people like they give additional features or characteristic to animals. Like they tell it is like, for example, some animals they create stories of the animals telling this animal had this kind of teeth and all. They add additional features which are actually not true. So now finally we have feeding habits. So I'm not gonna explain much on feeding habits. I'll just tell you about the three categories in feeding habits. So animals are divided on three bases: carnivores, omnivores, and herbivores. Carnivores are the animals that eat meat. They eat meat and they have adaptations so that they are able to eat meat. Omnivores are a mix of herbivores and carnivores. That means they eat more both plants and animals. And finally, we have herbivores which eat only plants. So these animals have specific adaptations that help them cope with the kind of food they eat. For example, carnivores have strong jaws or claws that help them tear apart and rip apart the food. And omnivores have both kinds of jaws that help them eat both plants and meat. And herbivores have strong incisors and jaws that help them eat tough plant material like bark, roots, and flowers. Okay, so now this is like a food web of the savannah. And food web is like where at the bottom of the food chain, see, food web, there are like these producers, then there are herbivores and carnivores. So it's like I told, animals are always interconnected in a way, like in eating and many other different ways. So I'd like to ask anyone if they can identify a food chain in this food web. Like a food chain, you might know what a food chain is. Like first, there is
The spider eats the leaf.
yeah, correct, and
The eagle. Wait, what?
I think that's like no, the flamingo eats cherries.
yeah. So like for example,
The
like
wolf eats an eagle. Wait, what?
through, I'll give you example of the food chain in this food web. We have these trees, like these fruits. These fruits are eaten by the monkeys, like these baboons. Now the baboons are eaten by the baboons also eat the spiders, and the baboons are eaten by the lions and wolves, like eaten by the crocodiles.
And
So
like
this is
the
how, yeah,
like the bee eats the flower and the spider eats the bee, like that.
yeah, and the honey, like the flower, is eaten by the bees.
Yeah,
So
the nectar.
yeah, nectar. So this is like a food web I've given you an example food web. So now is question and answer time, a question Q&A session. Like if you have any question, you can ask me. Um, does anyone have a question?
Izyan. Izyan.
Yes, guys.
Yeah. So you told there are two type of blood animals, like two type of blooded animals, like hot blood and cold blood, right?
Yeah, warm-blooded and cold-blooded.
The difference, like, can you tell the difference between them? Like, some are
Yeah.
similar, and I don't understand correctly. So can you explain that one more?
It's easy. It's easy. Like because warm-blooded animals, I'll tell you. Warm-blooded animals, us humans, we are warm-blooded animals, and we can control our temperature. Like you might feel hot at sometimes, you might feel cold at sometimes. So even take an example, guys. You might have gone to the desert. Might feel it's like very hot in the surroundings, but then
Yeah.
but then take another example. We go to the Arctic or somewhere cold like that. You wear a jacket. You feel warm, right?
Yeah.
So that is why you can control your temperature. Even if it's cold outside, you can still be warm. And cold-blooded animals is the opposite. Opposite means like cold-blooded animals, like if the surrounding, like outside, if they are in the Arctic, if it is cold out there, they will also be cold. If it is very hot, they will also be hot. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, Sadit.
So, can I
I have a
ask?
question.
Yes, Sadit.
Yeah. I want to ask that, like you said, like herbivores only eat plants, right?
Yeah,
So,
plant. Yeah.
so, and they can't eat meat. So what if you gave, what if a herbivore ate meat? What would happen to them?
Like they are not adapted. Like I told you, different animals have different features. For example, I'll tell you that the deer has special teeth and a jaw structure for eating plants only. So if it eats meat, it will not be able to chew it properly. Like it won't be able to digest it properly because it is not made for eating the meat. So maybe it might get like, you know, it might mostly it might go without any problem, but then if it is not able to digest or chew it, maybe like it might get stuck in the throat or something like that might happen.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Tejas.
So my question is lions and tigers are living with their family.
Could you repeat the question, please?
So my question is, are the lions and tigers what's that say? Herbivores opposite of the herbivores? What's that?
Carnivores.
Yeah, the carnivores are living together like a group. Is that true?
So carnivores, yeah, like not all like carnivores. There are different kinds of carnivores, like wolves. Wolves live together. Now, in your example, you're giving cats, cat family. So in this cat family, most cats lived alone, like solitary. Like a tiger hunts alone. Like it doesn't like that. It doesn't like live together. But in lions, they are very social. They live in group called pride, and then they like yeah that. So lions live together, and it depends on which animal you're talking about, if they live together or not.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay. So I think everyone has their doubts clear.
Okay. So no more
Yes.
questions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Izyan, that was really informative. You really took us into the world of animals. Okay, Izyan. And you researched really well. Okay. So, everyone.
Izyan, it was a nice presentation. Izyan.
I really like that. Thank you, Zian.
Me too.
So, all the super
I
kids,
was
please
very
fill
good.
the form. Please
Yeah,
fill
it
the
was
Please
form.
fill the evaluation sheet, please.
Great.
Okay, please fill the
I
evaluation
submitted
form.
at the start. I submitted at the start.
Akash, you don't have any question to Izyan?
Bye, ma'am.
Oh, I have absolutely no question.
I know many of them. Adit, what about you?
No, I think he
Ma'am,
answered.
I don't have any questions.
I'm pretty sure I was like the only person who asked a question.
Okay, Izyan, I think you researched well about echinodermata, annelids, arthropods, all the taxonomical classifications. Well researched. So who all are
Izyan,
taking
you
on to
talking? Because you're muted.
me? Izyan.
I know.
I just want to share a quote, ma'am. So education is the
Ma'am,
most
can we
powerful
leave?
weapon which we can use to change the world, by Nelson Mandela.
Ma'am,
So
can we leave?
Okay, so after
Okay,
filling
so
the
yeah.
form or after filling the form evaluation
the
sheet, the
super
super
kids.
kids can leave. After filling the form, the super kids
Okay,
can
ma'am.
leave.
Only after filling the form, okay?
Ma'am, what
Once
about
you
Cosmos Middle?
submitted the form, you can leave.
Ma'am, what about Cosmos Middle?
Cosmos Middle, please wait here.
Okay.
Even the Acme's middle grade also. Please wait here. Okay.
Ma'am, so can I leave?
Yes, my dear, you can leave.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, so now we have only the Cosmos middle and the Acmes middle grade students here. So it's almost 3:15. So Adila, I think, Adila, are you here, Adila?
Yes, ma'am.
Adila, can we play a game? Because I know you plan many games for your English classes. Can you share some of? Yes.
Play chess and nobody have
Ma'am, can we please
to play.
Kahoot? Can we play
Actually, you
Kahoot?
know,
want to play
actually,
Kahoot.
please, can we play
I don't
Kahoot?
want.
Ma'am,
I
yesterday
wanna
we
play
played,
Kahoot.
ma'am. Yesterday we played.
Can
that
we play
Kahoot.
Kahoot?
Yesterday we played. Okay, so instead of that, can we play some tricky games? How it will be? So the Acmes middle can also participate, no?
Ma'am, what about
Why not
ma'am,
Kahoot?
What's the
They can
problem of
participate.
Kahoot?
Kahoot.
What about
Kahoot,
chess?
Kahoot, there is a problem
They can also
because
join.
Kahoot, there is a problem because they are tiny kids. Sometimes if we prepare a quiz for you, it will be tough for them.
Ma'am, what
So
about
if it
chess?
is
Most of the people's not chess.
Teachers, please listen. It's almost 3:15. Only 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Yeah.
Shekina ma'am,
What?
what is your opinion? Do we
How
need to go
about-
back to our own classes or we need to stay here?
No, ma'am, there is just few more minutes left, right? Again, they don't
Yes.
have to join back and then cause delay because we will be wasting our
So
time.
please listen. Let me take. Adila, are you here, Adila?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you, I know you have a lot of tricky questions with you for your English classes. It's already ready with you.
Not questions.
Or any once we played what? Tongue twisters we already played in this class, so that's not needed. Then what else we can play here?
Ma'am, can we please play chess?
Chess,
I'm not good at
easy
chess.
Yeah. Okay, then tell me how was this webinar? How was this open exploration? What's your opinion about this?
That was
Where is my
very good.
Honyo or Halima? Please turn on
Let
the
me
camera.
ask the Acmes middle grade. Halima, Honyo, Abdullah, and Zain. I could see Honyo listening with wide open ears. How was it, Honyo? Were you able to understand something? Honyo, Zain, Halima. I think Abdullah is not. Abdullah, are you here? I can see you. I can see your name in the participant list, but are you here?
Yes,
Did you understand something?
no.
Yes? Great.
No.
No.
He said no. Okay,
Didn't
let me check with Bildan. Bildan is very much interested about animals. So Bildan, can you please share what you understood from that?
Just literally a bit confusing.
It is
Bit confusing.
a little bit confusing because there are some other zoological names he were using, right?
Ma'am,
Yes.
it was so long I was almost fell asleep.
Oh my God, you people will sleepy. But please listen to that. You know how much he took? I think around 1.5 hours. So how much hard work you have to put for that kind of presentation.
At least appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
we
should
should
be
appreciate
appreciated, right? Because once we have researched well, then only we can make a presentation like that. And do you know what he was doing? Did he reading from the slides? Did anyone notice that? Did he reading from the slide?
No, ma'am.
No, he was saying things from the slides, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Actually, when it comes to you people, you also have to be like that. And
He
when it
just
comes
said-
to the yes, Abid?
He said everything he knew.
Yes.
He
And
didn't read anything.
yes.
Adil,
Yeah. What?
I'll call you after class and then we can play Kahoot together. Then we'll be
No.
better. Okay?
No.
Why? Are you scared?
No, I'm not scared.
Then why don't you
So
wanna
have you
play?
decided the game, which game to play? Or do you want to just discuss about the topic?
We want to play Kahoot.
Yeah.
Kahoot will take more time, Adit. That's the problem. We have just 10 minutes, right?
Kahoot doesn't take that long. It'll only take like 5
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah, she's right. It will take only 10 and 5 minutes.
Please, Kahoot.
Please, I want to beat Rayan so bad. I want my revenge.
And I want to beat Adit again so bad.
I'm gonna beat you this time if we play Kahoot.
We'll see about that. And even if you win, it will still be a draw.
Someone can share the screen. Who wants to share the screen if it is Kahoot?
Me.
Let Rayan share it. I can steal all the answers from his screen.
Okay, ma'am, make Adit the presenter.
No.
Please tell, don't waste. Who wants to share the screen?
No, not me. Not me.
Someone just
No, not me. Let Rayan do it.
okay, fine. Let me do it.
I'm gonna steal all of your answers.
And that would be unfair.
Oh, I just yeeted something far away.
Someone has to share.
Okay, Ryan, I made you presenter.
Okay, ma'am.
Kahoot. Wait, I don't have a Q&A or chat box here. How would I get into Kahoot?
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
I don't have chat box either.
Somebody share.
Adit, you will get all those things after you enroll in a school. Because now you are a demo student, so it's not possible for you to get chat and Q&A.
I don't have. I am a student in healthcare school.
Who is that? That is Sunny. That means you are joining from different accounts.
Same account. You need.
Ma'am, if you have chat box, then send me the link.
I can't see Rayan's screen. It's blank.
And your screen is blank. Yeah, now I can see that.
I have my pen and I'm good at answering if I have my pen. There you go.
Kahoot.
Adit, you're going to lose this, you know.
No, I'm not going to lose. You're going to lose.
Come on, Adit.